All right. The other day in one of the groups, a guy brought up a really good point, and it's something that I had been thinking about before, but now that he brought it up, and I'm not going to address him in the group because I don't want the trolls to come out. I'm just going to go ahead and break it down on one of my videos. He said something to the effect of his grandma was second grade educated, like a lot of our grandparents, and she had so much wisdom and so much common sense, and she was able to navigate in the world at a level that a lot of his counterparts, who I assume are educated, they can't perform at these levels. And I guess what happened is he had gone through her, I guess she had died recently or something, and he had gone through her belongings and he found some old stock certificates for some business or something. And he was just pointing out the fact that this woman, who obviously she couldn't have known anything really about the stock market with such a low level of education, she still knew to buy into businesses and to invest her money, what little money she had, in the businesses and to think future minded. And now I guess he's saying that the people that he knows have multiple college degrees and they're just bumbling idiots. And, I thought about that before too. Like, wow, it just seems like people nowadays are so stupid, you know. And yeah, I mean, I had to go ahead and pay my inner tuition and figure out what's going on. And here's what I found. Here's why people back in the day were so sharp and everybody with a million college degrees are such idiots. This is just like really, really simple. It's grounding. Yeah, they were grounded. The people back in the day had a connection to the ground. The people today have a connection to the air. Let that sink in a little bit. Let's go back over that one. The people back in the day, all they had was their 10 toes touching that ground. They didn't have the internet. A lot of these people didn't have TV. Radio was just coming in. All you had was the people who lived around you, maybe the people you went to church with, maybe people you work with. If you're lucky, you had a couple relatives in another state, but you really didn't have a way to communicate with them. So basically everything was on site and everything was grounded. Nowadays, people really don't want to deal with a physical existence. Everything is digital, everything's in the air, everything's Wi-Fi, everything's Bluetooth, everything's SMS message. And what that's doing is it's removing all responsibility, because if something happens on Twitter, for example, let's say, you write something on Twitter that you regret 10 minutes later. All you have to do is say, LOL, my Twitter account was hacked. And the brainless followers you have are just going to accept it. They're like, oh, wow, that's so cool. That happened to me too. And everybody just goes back to whatever they were doing. But back in the day, when everything was grounded and those 10 toes were all you could stand on, if you say something to somebody, all you can do is deal with the consequences of that person coming to confront you on that same ground, that same soil. You gonna see them when you see them. Now you can do whatever you want to and hide behind a VPN, hide behind a fake catfish profile or anything else, because you and that other person are only dealing with air. You don't have to deal with each other in person. All you have to do is send a text. You can, if you're a big time celebrity, you'll go on TV and send through the airwaves your apology if you say something wrong. Yeah, there's no grounding. There's nothing actual and tangible on anybody's mind. And in my opinion, I think that that yeah, for right now, yeah, this is how it's gonna be, but in the future, I just don't see people being so enamored and so fascinated with air. Like, what's so good about Wi-Fi? Like, I think that's what they're gonna say. I think eventually people are gonna be so overburdened with the stress of having to be online all the time and having no real connections to people or places, because people really not, they're not even making connection to physical structures anymore. Like, people don't want to build houses anymore. Like, people don't want to do anything physical at all. And once it 360s back around, just check some of my old videos where everything's a circle. Remember, all of these concepts fit together. Everything is a circle and everything's going to go back around. Eventually, when physicality, quote unquote, becomes cool again, those people holding on to physical assets are gonna run the world. Golly, now that was deep. Just let that sink in for a bit. And yeah, check out silverbricks.tk, get some free silver, and that's it.